Akim. This is Marisha Yehuda Yehuda El. Um, First of all, I give all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Hamashiach, Yahushai. Amen. Also, I like to say Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai. Amen. All right. I'd like to also thank all the brothers and sisters out there for commenting on um, Black Panther, a Hebrew's take on Black Panther. I appreciate all the positive and negative um, responses. They're all educational. It all depends on how you look at them. Everybody has an opinion, and some are stronger than others. That's just the way it is. Now today, what I'm going to talk about on the Sabbath. Happy Sabbath to all you brethren. Kwam Yasharala. Barak Yahweh. Barak Yahushai. What we're going to talk about today is the school shooting. Not just all of them, but this new one in particular, I wanted to talk about. And there's a few other things that I want to talk about. I noticed that we'll start with, the personal attacks. They don't bother me because I know who I am. There's a lot of brothers out there and sisters out there talking about earrings. I am going to agree with you guys on the earrings. In fact, I'm going to take them out now. The reason being is because there's two reasons I agree with you on the earrings. Number one, until the Spirit comes upon me again to say, hey, put them back in, it's not what it is. It's you have to mar your skin in order to, put the earrings in. So we're not supposed to be doing that, like tattoos and stuff like that. The other thing is, a lot of brothers try to say, well, that's a Hamite custom or an Ishmaelite custom. As you read throughout the scriptures, you'll find that some Hebrew Israelites had earrings in too. Didn't necessarily say they had the earrings in, but they had them on them somewhere. Whether it was plunder from an invasion, they had them. More than likely, they were wearing them. But since I can't determine yay or nay of the situation, I don't have a problem with taking them out. So there you go, they're out. And as you can see, the the beard is growing back as well. Okay. So that's one thing I wanted to clear up. Another thing I wanted to clear up is had some comments about, being a Mason. There's nothing wrong with being a Mason, especially if you are one and you're a Hebrew Israelite. Now, as far as, like I said, there's some degrees, and I'm going to explain just a few of them to you. I'm a part of the Blue Lodge. And the Blue Lodge has pretty much 4 degrees, inner apprentice, the 2nd degree, and the 3rd degree, a master mason. Fellow craft is the 2nd. And then there's the master of the lodge, which has got the big top hat that, sits in the east with a G above his head, which represents the Most High. Some people say it represents geometry, but yeah, geometry and all that stuff represents the Most High. Anyways, in the blue house, which is 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and some people consider it 4th degree if you become the master of the lodge. That particular Blue Lodge masonry does not conflict with any part of the scriptures, does not conflict with the Most High. A lot of people say, oh, well, it's a secret society and, secrets and so on and so forth. But if you really think about it, a lot of the Hebrew Israelite camps, they're kind of secret, because if you're not a Hebrew Israelite, you can't get into those camps and see what's going on. So it's kind of the same thing. The only difference is with being a Mason, everything in the Blue Lodge is available for your view online. The only difference is what you're viewing online, because you're not a Mason, you don't know what's real and what's not real. Like I said in my first video, a Hebrew's take on the Black Panther movie, being a Mason, it doesn't conflict with being a Hebrew Israelite, and it doesn't as a Hebrew Israelite, you can't serve two masters. In fact, a lot of the Masonic stories, like Hiram Abiff and passwords and stuff like that, are in the Holy Bible, the King James 16 version. So if you want, venture out and try becoming a Mason and taking a look at it yourself. Just take a look at it yourself, and you'll see that, now as far as any lodges beyond the Blue Lodge, Red Lodges, and all the way up to the 33rd degree, I can't answer that. I'm not even going to elaborate on that because I can't. But everything dealing with the Blue Lodge, I can, because I know their Constitution, and we're expected to conduct ourselves in accordance with good men of the Scripture. We even compare, and there's lots of sayings that are based on reading the Scriptures. I mean, you just have to go. When you go, you'll be like, wow, this particular Blue Lodge, or these Blue Lodges, they actually reinforce believing in the Scriptures. Now that I'm done with that, I just wanted to touch a little bit on that. I really don't care what you Hebrew Israelites out there are scoffing at me and trying to attack me, the person. I don't care, because that doesn't bother me. That's not going to stress me out ever. You just want to be heard, a lot of you. You want to be listened to. You want to be right. And you want to be prideful and boastful about it. But whatever you do, don't ever forget that even as a Hebrew Israelite that's in the truth, and you think that you know all of this information, which, you can really prove that you don't by watching ISUPK, even IUIC, GMS, the Good Samaritans. They will prove to you real quick that you're not as well versed in the Scriptures as you think you are. AOC, General Hashar, I got to give shouts out to those individuals, because those are the groups that help wake me up. So I take your advice, I listen to it, but don't for 1 second think that I'm not cognizant and aware of what I'm speaking about. I got a lot of comments about Africans this, we don't use that word, we all lived in Africa, it wasn't called Africa, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, so on and so forth. I'm fully aware of that. Okay, but thanks for helping me remember that. Now that I've addressed all of that, I want to talk about this school shooting with this Caucasian individual. First wanted to start off by comparing and contrasting a few things. And number one, I mean, let's be honest. This is an affluent neighborhood that this Caucasian boy was in. He didn't even go to that school. He's 18 years old. He went and purchased I'm just going to say a firearm. I'm not with that, assault rifle, all that mess. It's a mess. So anyways, make a long story short, he purchased this weapon. He posted crap to, I think, Facebook and some other social media sites that he wanted to shoot up a school and so on and so forth. And he actually followed through and did it. And as you watch television, all you keep hearing is, let's crack down on gun laws, let's do this, let's do that. But the real problem is something that they're not addressing in the media. It's something that no one's addressing, not even the Hebrew Israelites. They may be in some of their videos. I haven't seen every single one of them. But let me tell you, the main reason why a lot of Caucasian boys are getting away with this is because they're purchasing firearms from other Caucasian people. And Caucasian people trust Caucasian people. I can't believe that, I know, some people might say you're racist, you're dividing us. I don't care. I've seen it with my own eyes. And, when I was in the world, I got a child that her mom is Caucasian. She's an Edomite, too. Before I came into truth, that's how I was rolling. I don't regret my daughter, of course. It was a blessing by the Most High. And whatever, consequences I have to bear and suffer with because of that, then I'm gonna suffer with that, and I'm gonna deal with it. I'm gonna repent every day. But so-called white people trust white people. And now, if you don't believe me, let's flip the script. The white boy walked up to the school. He didn't even go there. People saw him. Nobody said anything to him. He went in there and shot up, I think, 17 children, which happened to all be so-called white. I think there was one Moabite, or that was, but all 17 of them were. They weren't. None of them were. They weren't black or brown children that got shot. My heart goes out to those families. I'm not, even though I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I'm not an animal. I do have feelings. But now, so you got a white dude that, 18 years old, gets a firearm, walks into a school and blasts 17 children. Nobody says anything from him making the statements on social media sites and pretty much telling everybody what he's going to do. If that was a well-dressed black child, 18 years old, with a backpack on or whatever he did walk into school, I can guarantee you that he would not have made it into the school. Because they would have said, suspicious black male, what are you doing? The security guy would have probably even came up and said, hey, what do you want? What are you doing here? Did you go to school here? He would have been questioned. In fact, the point is, he may not even been able to purchase a firearm at 18 years old, being a black or brown individual. They have in Florida gun shops that refuse to sell to black people. I mean, I live in Florida, and I know this for a fact. I just recently moved down here, but I know that for a fact. So the reason why these shooting people are getting, these white or so-called white kids are getting away with all these school shootings is because parents, police officers, law enforcement, they all trust these so-called white children, white boys, white men. They trust them. And we as Hebrew Israelites don't even trust our own people, but white people, so-called white people, they have a thing where they trust each other. That's why they're always getting swindled by other white people. You can look at some of the videos, guys broke out of jail, and they're running down the railroad tracks, get pulled over by the cop. Cop says, hey, what are you doing? The guy says, well, I'm just going on a morning jog. And the cop freaking believes him, and this guy just broke out of jail and lets him go. It's on YouTube. You can just see some of the crap that goes on. They go, they don't hold themselves accountable for their actions. And when a law enforcement officer that's white has to deal with the difference between shooting a white person and shooting a black person, 99% of the time he will not hesitate to shoot that black person versus trying to talk it out with that white person. Here's another white person that went into a school or a facility, shot up a bunch of people for whatever apparent reason, and walked out and got handcuffs and not killed. Even the security guy that was there sat outside the building for 4 minutes while he heard gunshots going off. And you know why I did that? Because that motherfucker said, and excuse my friends, that motherfucker said, I'm close to retirement. Fuck if I'm going in there and nah, fuck that. I ain't going in there. It'll be over soon. I'm going to call 911 or I'll wait for 911 to come in, but I ain't going up in there. And then turn right around and resign so he get his retirement after 17 children have gotten killed. They arrest the dude, they find him. They don't even bust caps in him. They arrest him. I wonder if they took him to KFC or Burger King as well. And now back to the media. The media won't address that look because they know it's against them. The white media, the so-called white media, knows that they trust their own people. Okay? Textbook example. Do you hear about a whole bunch of shootings in minority schools? No, you don't. You know why? Because they have several excuse me. They have several metal detectors before you go into a school. They have cops in there frisking and opening up your book bag. That's why it's probably better that those students come in there with no book bag and leave all their shit, their crap in their locker when they leave. Okay? They're always catching kids with knives, BB guns, so on and so forth at these minority schools because they are on lockdown. They're on lockdown. That's why you're not hearing about a bunch of black kids or white kids, so-called white children, going into minority schools, shooting up a bunch of people. Now, you hear about it in the affluent neighborhoods because they don't want Becky and little Johnny to have to go through a metal detector to go to school. They don't want little Becky to have her book bag open up in front of her peers because she's got a long fingernail file in there and gets suspended for it. This is because they trust their white people, so-called white people trust their people. I mean, you could say it's racist, but it's factual. You know, I've gone in places, when I was making a shitload of money, and a poor white woman would clench her purse, and I'm sitting up here like, yo, I just spent $300 for 2 items, and you clenching your purse at me? I got a freaking Cadillac out there. I'm like, come on. So the media won't address it. So they go after the congressmen, who are primarily white, and then they're not going to give up their guns. And I don't think that giving up gun rights is the key. It's not. It hasn't been. It never will be. The key is, you might want to get rid of the bump stocks. That's pretty much turns a semi-automatic into a machine gun. I don't see a reason why an 18-year-old child needs to have a firearm. And if they do have a firearm at 18 years old, then the parents should have to sign for that, especially if they're living in the parent's household and if they're going to school. And if something happens with that parent, with that 18-year-old, between the time they turn 18, as long as they're living in that residence with those parents need to be responsible. If he goes out and shoots up a bunch of people, they need to go to jail. Start doing that. Start taking these Caucasian parents and start charging them for their children doing these crimes, because every time a black person does the crime and it's a minor, one or two things is going to happen. That black child is going to be shot and killed, or they're going to claim child neglect. You weren't watching your child. Just like when the boy fell in the zoo with the gorillas. I mean, they tried to sue the lady, and when it was really, she just made a mistake. She took her eye off her kid. I took my eye off my daughter for a couple seconds, and boom, they be gone. But they don't want to give us that compassion, that understanding. They want to make us out to look like criminals from day one to day zero. So, to address the problem, so-called white people just have to stop trusting white people. You might as well trust us. I mean, really, half of the brothers and sisters out there scared of Edomites in the first place, and they always trying to please them. Yeah, yes, master. Yeah, I'll do it for you. No, just stop trusting white people. White people need to start treating other so-called white people like they treat black people, which is they don't trust them. And other white people that are swindling other Caucasians, they know that white people trust white people. They use it to sell junk bonds. They've extorted millions of dollars from people in the church system. Dude creating a church took $100,000 from a bunch of white church growers to so-called build a better church, and then skipped out on them and went out of state. Never heard from them again. They can't sue them. They can't get their money back. So that's what this video was about. Hebrews take on these white shootings, or not white shootings, but these kids shooting up schools. Like I said, this is not happening in minority schools because they got them on lock. My daughter goes to an academy, and that academy, when you walk up to the door, you can't even get in the door. You're looking through the door, which you can't even see because it's tinted. And there's a woman looking at you saying, yes, how may I help you? Yes, this is such and such dad. She buzzes you in. You can't go beyond that section. And they'll call and, bring your daughter out. You got to show ID. So, but affluent neighborhoods, I'm just going to say so-called white neighborhoods, they don't want parents don't want to have to go through that to go see their children. They don't want to have to go through that. They want to be able to walk in there, hey, Miss Josie, or hey, Miss such and such. Yeah, let me go and get Becky, little Becky for you and little Frankie for you. You know, that's how they want to live. They want us to go to bed at night with their doors unlocked. You know, that ain't happening with us. So, without further ado, that's pretty much about all that I had to say on that topic. Just remember, your brethren and sisters out there, if you hang around some Edomites and you start feeling that things don't feel comfortable, just bounce. Just don't hang out around them. Bounce. Get the hell out of Dodge, because right now the 2/3 is getting wiped out as we speak. Um, and I mean, I kind of got a heart for those children that passed on. But what you have to believe and take into consideration is we don't know what those children were in a past life. The Most High does. We don't know who they were. We don't know. And, if the Most High is going to send back Yahushua, this stuff has to go down. It's going to get worse. And, they could have been anybody, those children that got wiped out. I know it's hard to believe, and some brothers and sisters don't want to believe it, but I believe it's in Ecclesiasticus. I don't remember what chapter. But, how it states that there's nothing new under the sun. And, I probably need to be busting these scriptures out with y'all when I'm on here. Maybe next time I'll do that. I'm a rookie at this, so please cut me a little bit of slack, or you don't have to. It doesn't matter. So my take on these school shootings is most of the time they're happening in affluent neighborhoods, and it's a Caucasian child, and they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it from beginning to end. They're getting away with it. They're going to buy the weapon. The weapons dealer trusts them because they're white. I bought a weapon and sold it to my buddy of mine, and it took 14 days for that weapon for him to get approved. 14 days. My name alone, I went to Cabela's, I believe it was, and just for my name, I had to wait. I got my weapon within 30 minutes. So because I got a white legal name. The other thing is, like I said, he went and purchased the weapon. They didn't question him. He's just a trustworthy old white dude that wants an AR-15. Here you go, buddy. Post crap on Facebook. They see that he's a Caucasian. Oh no, he's just joking around. He's joshing around. Oh no, Mr. Cruz. He doesn't mean anything by that. People called in to complain about this guy. Nothing. He held a handgun up to the head of, I think, his brother and some other individuals. Nothing. Oh, he was just joking. Mr. Cruz, you really shouldn't joke around like that, but he was just joking. Now, then he goes in and shoots up the school of 17 people, killing 17 people. They arrest him. Now, he's in custody right now in jail. Now take everything that I just told you and turn that individual into Rashad with dreads, slightly sagging pants, Air Force One or some Jordans on, and see if he can go through that same process and not be shot and killed. That answers the story right there, because Caucasians trust Caucasians. All right, so be careful out there, Akim. Anyways, I'll holler at y'all. Shalom, shalom, and have a great and happy, safe Sabbath.